All right, we will start our commissioners workshop session. If it's okay, we have a couple folks from the public, if that's all right, if I can have them, and then we'll get to you, madam. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak with the commissioners on any topic they wish to discuss? Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Should I come forward?
Yes, please, if you don't mind stepping up to the podium.
Okay, well, I want to read you a little bit from this News Herald article, Concord Township Residents Fight for Water Service.
Okay.
When Concord Township resident Karen Gorens and her family first moved into their home at 12626 Girdled Road, their well water flowed at about 3 gallons a minute. But during the past few years, this is a 2013 article, but during the past few years, the water flow slowed and now trickles in at about half a gallon per minute. Also, the water is full of iron and mud, and there's often not enough water available in the reserve tank to do household tasks like laundry. She said elaborate systems are in place, but the water doesn't taste good to drink, and filters last only a few days before it turns black, okay? So this problem's been ongoing for quite some time. She said, she brought it to the county anyways. She said they brought a petition to the county for the water. I want to get to the part about the Cleveland Natural History Museum. Many of us that are bringing you the petition last week that we did to, ask for this resolution of necessity to get the public water, we were told by Andy Rose that, ha ha ha, you'll never see the water in your lifetime, ha ha ha, why did you move there, ha ha ha. The Natural History Museum and the Lake Metro Parks is blocking, why would they pay for water to be assessed going through the frontage that they own on your street? The Cleveland Natural History Museum owns property in the area and did not sign the petition. Its land has 1,400 feet of frontage and would cost an estimated $95,000. Another property owner, I guess he was, his name is Rothenberger. Oh, hey.
That
Yeah.
guy there.
So this guy said, hey, that's what the commissioners here are working with. We are going to make someone pay $73,000 for something they don't want. And the Natural History, they'd have to pay $100,000, blah, blah, blah. As a non-for-profit agency, they don't have the money to put in there, and they don't have any plans to speak with developers to do it either, blah, blah. Okay, so this is a problem. Y'all know about it. It's been going on since 2013 minus 5 years where these residents, have bring issue to the township, okay? So, and then what happened was it was springtime and I finally saw my neighbor. Tammy, what's going on? Well, what's new? Scott abandoned his house. What? Scott abandoned his house. He had to. There was no water. Okay, that's my neighbor. And it terrified me because you know what? I have been in the situation where I have also thought about, in a panic, what am I going to do? I got to leave my house now because, there's weeks that 25% of us up and down the street have dry wells, okay? The aquifer has failed and the Ohio Department of Natural Resources is preparing the summary right now to say that, okay? But since I was terrified because I know all too well about, there's 2 certified well drillers or whatever. You can't drill a well if there's no water in the aquifer, so that's a waste of money. I have holding tanks. Let's see, someone's bathing in rain barrels. So my neighbor has 7 wells. She's taxed at $25,000 a year, which is ridiculous. The realtor came because my son is a college student who's due to come back home and said, Mom, I don't want to live in the home because getting a shower with baby wipes like you do is not considered a shower to me, okay? So this is a real problem. My neighbor is a senior citizen. Our wells are dry 2 and 3 times a year. So who are we going to get to come and fix in the dead of winter when you have no water, okay? Oh, must be my 3rd well. Must be a break in the 800 foot of, piping from the well to the house. Well, who's going to fix that in the dead of winter, okay? There's nobody to call. So the residents relieve themselves in the, in the yard or whatever, okay? It's ridiculous. You're panicked because you can't make food because there's nowhere to wash your hands. It's a public health crisis over there, okay? And I don't know what's going on, but she terrified me when she said that. So I got in my car and said, you know what? Let me go up and down the street and see if I can get my neighbors to petition here what's going on, okay? And I found out that 14 of them who signed the petition are in every kind of which way, So another one down the street was leaving with her children. As I pulled in her driveway to ask her would she like to speak about this, she said, I'm leaving because I can't properly bathe my children because there's no water, okay? So that's 2 homes abandoned. One has a cistern. One is Dr. Neat. He has some water. He lives directly on the river. He has a $70,000 treatment system. The other one has a cistern. I just talked to her. She's putting on a $40,000 roof so that she can catch the water and collect it in her cistern that she says she spent $100,000 to build and also $200 a month to get water, okay? 2 new homeowners who had purchased their homes in 2025. One has a dry well 3 to 4 days a week. He waits for the water to drip in. The other one was in the process right then and there when I pulled into her driveway of getting the holding tanks, okay? And I know about the holding tanks because, of course, I have them, okay? All the pipes in my house, everything, broken, rotten, corroded, bursting, whatever, because to treat water, you need a system. The system needs water to backwash. Without water, you can't do that, okay? So in the emergency, the guy, who comes down the road with the water delivery truck, okay, he's not certified or whatever. He might be with the Board of Health, who I went there last week, But he's saying, well, no problem. We'll just shove that water from the public, chlorinated water. We'll shove it in your well. We'll shove it in your holding tanks that are not designed for that. It's cross-contamination. It has disinfecting byproducts that are carcinogens. And if you want to talk to the senior rural development lady at, RCAP or whatever, she's going to tell you, whoa, what? I would never do that. So I am also in the process of, talking to the Ohio Department of Health to get some kind of emergency letter of health, so that you can prioritize this project. Okay? So then that we brought you the petition, and we, 14 of us, say, hey, we want you to, we want people here to understand that this infrastructure is needed, for these 3 legal and health-driven points. It's a direct threat to our public health and safety, as documented in the water study that you have from 2021 that Concord spent lots of money. You have it, to identify that we are next in line. You brought the water to the West End, you abandoned us, okay? We're next in line as a priority according to the study. All right, here's the residents, all 14 of us who want you to, hear us out, and I'm here to represent. The study will show that 25% of our homes are with dry wells multiple times a year. This persistent loss of water prevents the maintenance necessary for the minimum amount of sanitary standards for drinking, bathing, fire protection, and it's creating now by those abandoned homes a documented emergency situation, okay? We want you to know that the elimination of a public water gap is an unserved area. Our neighborhood remains critically unserved, where private water sources have consistently failed, okay? The aquifers are dry, as the ODNR will present in a summary. Extending the public water line here directly aligns with various grant criteria and prioritizes clean drinking water to high-risk, unserved communities. 2 of our residents drink the water. The rest of us, go to our moms to shower, our moms to do the laundry, wherever the hell we're going, carrying jugs, you want to go look in my car, whatever. All right, the failing private infrastructure and resource depletion. The recurring failure of the private wells on our property is a result of regional aquifer depletion beyond our control. We request that the county pursue a resolution of necessity and look for grants to address this failure using the benefits received model to ensure that those large landowner users, Metro Parks and Cleveland Natural History Museum, do not prevent our essential public health improvements. Okay,
Focus on me, ma'am.
What?
Please focus on me.
Sure. Whoever you are, I'm focused.
My name's Morris Beavers III. I'm the president of the County Board of Commissioners.
Hi, I'm sorry. I'm Connie Wellman, Pitbull, but not really. A public school teacher, a single mom.
Ma'am, I'm trying to be nice.
And in a health crisis.
Please speak to me.
I'm sorry.
And please don't be disrespectful to the other folks in the room.
I'm so
that
sorry.
work here for
Please
the
accept
county
my apology.
and do
I'm
their
so
best.
sorry.
I understand you're frustrated.
Thank you.
And so, if you don't mind, can I start to ask some questions so I can figure out?
No, wait, just give me a few more minutes. I'm almost done. The eligibility for the water supply revolving loan it gives principal forgiveness. We request that you nominate the project for the water supply revolving loan account because the project addresses a documented public health risk in an unserved area, and we are eligible under that for principal forgiveness, which acts as a grant that does not to be repaid. But I do want to ask, for the record, I have to ask for the record, why did the board here, Board of Commissioners, justify $2 million of public, grant money for the ARPA money for the federal funds to solve a health hazard for some of the residents on the west end of Girdled Road, but refuse the same logic for the others of us in an identical circumstance that is arbitrary and capricious use of power as far, at least as I'm concerned. So we want your help, and I think you understand what I'm saying here. You must explain why did you fund that area when you entirely failed to consider, our project. I did meet with Andy Rose, my son and I went there on March 2nd, and I also have correspondence from him as far back as 2021, where I am constantly in a desperate situation 2 to 3 times a year, asking him to help us at the township level. Again, he said, I don't know, there's no money, I'll see what I can do, I can't promise you anything. And, this the water supply, the resolving loan thing, it had nominations. The close on that was end of March this year. So I was there March 2nd. Clearly, he just ignored that. We don't want to be ignored anymore. That window is open all year long right now to apply for the planning and design nomination for this project to be on the priority list. And, I am here to tell you that 14, 15 of us residents are here to tell you that this is a serious public health problem, and we want you to help us just like you were willing to help the west end of our road, okay?
Thank you. Jason, do you mind addressing the west end girdled? I was not a commissioner at the time, so if you could please catch me up to speed on what happened.
One more thing, I also need the person's responsible before I leave here today for helping us get the funding. I need their phone numbers, and I need the risk manager number for this county so that I can let them know that, we're being failed to, no one is helping us to seek federal funding and local EPA. There's a million different grants for which we might qualify under the fact that we are in a health crisis right now, and I need those numbers.
Just give me a minute and I'm going to help you, okay? My name is Morris Beveridge. I'm the president of the county commissioners.
Thank you.
My phone number is what? 440?
I'm sorry, wait, let me grab my pen. I mean, I can find you, I'm talking
Is there
about,
somebody who knows my phone number?
I'm talking about who would help with the actual,
Well, I'm a county commissioner, and so the Department of Utilities reports up to the county commissioners, and so the administrator and all those folks work for the county commissioners. So you're asking for a name who's accountable, and I'm telling you,
is there some sort of a risk manager in the county?
is there a risk manager in the county?
I'll try to answer that question. Risk management, we have an insurance risk manager, I don't think that's what you're applying for. We have an EMA director who deals with risk management on all kinds of fronts, from the nuclear power plant to floods, et cetera. So if you had a little bit more as far as risk management on, I don't know where you got.
Well, some of these are Ohio Revised Code, health issues, putting cross-contaminating of water, we're being told, that's what's happening. I mean, in other words, if you want to hear that and say.
That sounds like a health district thing. So if you're talking about
Ohio EPA, of safe drinking water, we're not drinking it, we're not bathing in it.
We're county commissioners.
We want you to help us.
Ma'am, I'm trying. Please work with me here. I'm trying. I'm just trying to educate you.
I'm educated. I'm a teacher. Sorry, I don't want to be rude. Anybody in this room, I'm not rude.
I'm just trying to
I'm
let
just
you.
trying to say,
Please.
I'm a school teacher, a single mom, a senior citizen. I can't keep doing this and working my job when you are paid to help us and refusing to do so, okay?
So please
So
watch
don't
me
say
work
bear
for a
with
second.
me.
Jason, explain what happened with Girdle Road back before with ARPA dollars, please.
Yeah, I don't know that that'll be a satisfactory response.
Just explain it to her.
But yes, we received correspondence from the Lake County Township Association during the ARPA dollars. All 5 townships submitted potential projects based on their need in their communities. Those are presented to the Board of Commissioners with legal review, and the 2 Concord projects that were submitted were those particular waterline projects. So we took the recommendation of the township at that point in time. We did not pick and choose the east in your neck of the woods versus the west.
So the Township Association presented a slate of projects to work on
For ARPA, for all
for
5
ARPA
townships.
funds, and there was only a limited amount of funds, and they
Correct.
picked those two at the recommendation of the Townships Association.
That is correct.
All right, you need water on your street. I'm gonna look at Randy over here. We have county water department. Something tells me that they don't have a water line down this street and the suffering, it sounds like the aquifer is what the wells were used. It sounds like that's no longer working. So even if they could drill their well deeper, am I correct in the assumption
right.
that probably isn't gonna solve the problem?
It sounds like it, yeah.
Okay. So now we have to have water run down a street for these folks to have water. What is the normal process for that, please?
Sure. Normal process, it's in, Ohio Revised Code 6117 lays out the procedure for an assessment project, essentially. And that procedure is a petition is received by the property owners, which we received. And then the shortcut is, then you have a public hearing, and then the commissioners decide what they want to move forward from there. We add some steps into that process just to inform the property owners of what this investment would be. So from here, we would have a fairly informal information meeting where we sit down with the property owners, we get an estimate of what those costs might be, an estimate total for the project, and an estimate for each property owner on what those costs would be. And then we want to make sure that everybody understands the enormity of the project and what that investment is going to be. From there, if we get significant support, and we're usually looking for 75% of the property owners to participate, or at least be willing to move forward and willing to be assessed for whatever those project costs are, we would ask the commissioners to enter into a contract with an engineering firm to actually go out and design the project. And that's a little bit more detail. My estimate is just going to be a tabletop estimate about what it's going to cost. The engineer is actually going to go out and survey and take boring samples and find out what the construction costs are going to be. Once we figure that out, or the consultant figures that out, then we have a formal public hearing. And the public hearing, you would receive a tentative assessment is what we call it. So each property is going to be based on what their frontage is, and that tentative assessment is going to be based on that share of the total project cost. And that tentative assessment is the most that property can be required to pay at the end of the construction. So whatever that number is, we'd have a public hearing. All the property owners would be notified. They have the opportunity to speak to the commissioners, whether they're in favor of the project or opposed to the project. And then the commissioners would have a certain period of time, I think it's 30 days, to make a decision on whether to proceed with the project or not to proceed with the project. And if they decide to proceed with the project, then then we have the process of advertising for bids for hire a contractor, and then the project is installed. And then after that is over and installed and approved, then that remaining amount is put on everyone's taxes. That was part of that, either that tentative assessment or some number less than that, dollar amount less than that, based on the actual cost to install the water line.
And so can the cost for the assessment, you said it can be put into taxes?
Yeah, to put into taxes for 20 years.
20 years it can be
Typically
bought.
20
Yeah, right. The engineering, so simpleton here. Petition comes in, informal conversation. If the majority of the folks, over 75% or so, want to move forward, then we go hire an engineering firm. Who pays for that engineering?
The utilities department pays for the engineering. Ultimately, if the project moves forward, is part of that assessment cost, the total project
If the
cost.
project moves forward, if the engineering comes back and it says it's going to cost each resident $100,000, and they're like, no thanks, we'd rather do this or do that,
Right.
do not move forward. We do not want to be assessed $100,000. That's part of that public hearing,
Right.
because I was sitting in one of those out in Madison. And if that's the case, then we stop, then that stops the process. But if we move
Right.
forward, then they're okay.
Right.
Okay. Along the way, whether it be for the engineering and then once the work gets done, it sounds like there were grants that I think you presented us with, different
There's
grants.
tons of grants. I'm curious, just let me talk for a second. I'm curious, were you on, this is the engineer, civil and environmental consultants out of Mayfield, Ohio, who already completed the Public Water Service Study, Concord Township, Ohio, in 2021, Civil and Environmental Consultants Incorporated, Cleveland. You know, this is the study. It already maps out the 1.6 million that it would take to bring that, I have the study here, so a lot of the work has been done.
So-
And the idea that the.
Ma'am,
township
please speak
actually
into the
prepared
microphone
the
so that we
study-
can
I'm
record
sorry,
it.
the idea that you might, present it to you and that you might have objections or you might have to give a green light to the project. I mean, you already gave the green light to the west end of the township under this very water study that's already been completed for, I'm sure, thousands of, dollars that y'all spent. I mean, when I say the water supply revolving loan, that is a 0%. It has total forgiveness, for the residents. If you go, you township people, under the benefits received tax law, whoever does that here, if you tax them like that, the Metro Parks or the Cleveland Natural History Museum or the other Mr. Rick Cadwell, who owns, a development of 100 acres too. Those people might try to block us little residents, but if you use this, it's an ordinance or whatever benefits received model to ensure that they aren't going to block it. You're saying, well, if the community wants to come together and understand they're going to be assessed $100,000 for this water to come, that didn't happen on the west end because you found the ARPA money, $2 million you signed off on to bring the water over there. And the reason, which is in the study, by the way, I'll read it to you. It's in here saying that they needed safe water to drink. We're not drinking it. We're not bathing it. We use baby wipes to get our showers.
Ma'am?
You want me to say we
Ma'am?
toilet ourselves
Ma'am?
in our yards?
Ma'am,
What?
I understand your frustration.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Have any of your
And
neighbors
I-
abandoned their homes lately
this
in
is the-
Concord Township?
All right, ma'am. This is the first time you and I have met. This is the first time I'm understanding about this situation.
How could,
and
wait a
I'm-
minute. I'm sorry. If you signed up on this study,
Ma'am, I
which
became county
identifies
commissioner
as,
January 3rd, 2025. I haven't.
who's been around that long? You certainly have. I
Nope,
see
he
your
came
name on
after
the
me and he
paper.
was just before me. So, if you would like for me to please try and help the best way I know how,
Okay.
can you please allow me to ask a couple more questions so that we can then push this project along and figure out what it is that we can do, please? With the project, are there grants that are available for something like this?
Sometimes there are. The principal forgiveness is not a guarantee ever on those. It's something that comes, after the application, after the acceptance. So occasionally there's grants for something like this.
Okay.
Generally, we're not involved with those because we're not getting grants for new projects. So we don't have a lot, I personally don't have a lot of experience with those. Most of the things that we are dealing with is infrastructure replacement and upgrades.
Okay.
We can certainly look into this.
If I could drill down on that
Yeah.
particular question, what you're saying is that we would have to proceed with the project without knowing whether there's a grant or not. And so ultimately, the residents would have to sign off and say, I'm interested even if there is no grant. Is that what you're saying?
Turn your microphone on too.
I guess it's either way. I mean, we can apply for a grant and wait for it to see if it's approved before we take any of these steps. Or we can start taking the steps and say, yeah, this is whatever it's gonna be, $80,000 a house. But if we get grants-
And to that point, do we have even a rough estimate of what it would cost? Because obviously, depending on what number you give to the residents, they're gonna give a very different answer. I mean, we've heard that some residents are already taking steps where they've spent money, and they may have a solution that they're happy with, whereas other residents don't have either the resources or the ability to do that. So depending on the number, it could be everyone raises their hand and says, yeah, let's get the water. I mean, if it's 5,000, everyone says yes. If it's 500,000, everyone says no. What is the number?
The number-
Roughly.
The number in this report was, I think, $1.6 million
That's right.
for the project.
That's
and that
right.
was in 2021.
And what would that be distributed over?
It would be based on front footage, so
And-
it would depend on what the front footage of these property is.
Do you have a rough sense of what that would be for the private property owners?
I have it here.
Randy, I have a quick question. With respect to the need for engineering, would the study that Concord Township paid for in '21 be adequate engineering, or would we have to go back and redo that engineering?
No, we wouldn't have to redo it. What they did was what I would typically do, we would call a tabletop estimate. So I'm gonna look and see how many front foot, how many feet the length of the project is, how many hydrants we'd be putting in, and generally I kind of know what the soil conditions are, so how difficult that would be. And I can come up with a number based on the last 50 projects that we've done. That'll get us into the ballpark.
So it's not the thorough engineering that's required, it's a
Right, and that's, this study
rough
was,
estimate.
yeah, this study was a tabletop. They probably went out and walked it. They, they looked, they saw that they had to bore underneath a creek and that sort of thing that adds cost.
So you'd need to do more engineering to move it forward from where it is today?
We would use that study, which we weren't involved in, but we would use that as the information meeting. So that gets us in the ballpark. That tells us, the property owners, this is about what it's gonna cost. And the cost, it was a 2021 dollars, and now it's 2026 with construction probably in 27 or even later. So that number has gone up significantly. So I would take that study, take a look at what that inflation is for construction and materials over the last 5 or 6 or 7 years, and then that would be what we would base an information meeting on to see if property owners were still interested and were willing to participate in a project of that magnitude. And if the answer is yes, then we would then go out and hire a consultant for probably, and they would do a very more in-depth study. They would, I mean, it takes several months to go out and actually design the water line and what it would actually take. And, they're gonna find out if there's storm sewers in the way or, buried electric and different things underground that we're not doing. We're just getting an estimate with a fairly large contingency to start with, to get a ballpark number and then moving forward with that.
Okay.
If, then that's without any grants, involved. So that would be something that would,
And what is that ballpark number?
$1.6 million in 2021, so you're probably 2 million, something, two and a quarter million.
And divided by how many?
I believe there's 23 houses on the street, something like that, but it's going to be based on front footage.
Mhm.
So I couldn't, if you have I have not gotten that detailed yet.
I have it here that H2 Ohio offers grants, Ohio builds, EPA. There's plenty of grants out there, and I find it really shocking that you don't know anything about them. I also have here that,
All right, ma'am, I'm gonna take control here for a second. I'm gonna let you know how we're gonna move forward. I think that we have the petition. We have an interest from the folks on the street to move forward and to look into this. We also have a preliminary study or engineering from 2021, which is a good base. You have a copy of that, correct?
I do, yeah.
Okay, so if you could please do your tabletop work or whatever you need to do to get us to an updated place so that we can then communicate back with the folks and say, here's where we think this would be now of the total project cost. This is an informal hearing or a hearing, right? The
It's
commissioners
really
have?
just a meeting. It's an information meeting,
Okay.
and it's, yeah.
So it is the public
very
meeting that I
informal.
went out to in Madison. This is just an informational meeting. So
Right.
we'll have that informational meeting. We'll let you know we have your information. We'll let you know for all the residents to come in. Here's where we are. Here's what we think the project would cost. Do we have a majority of the folks that want us to continue and then go for a formal
okay, but I have
engineering?
to add this. Here, I have this as your writing here. According to his informal $65 per foot estimate, it would cost $12,719 based on 195 feet of frontage, a cost they are very willing to pay as a property tax assessment spread out over 20 years. So stop trying to act like if the residents want to
Ma'am,
pay
I'm
$500
not
million
acting like
to get it,
Ma'am,
okay?
so here's what we're going to do. I'm
Wait.
going to move forward with the engineering. And
Okay,
then
but I
we're
wanna
going to
know-
come back out. We're going to reach out to you, and I am not going to stop speaking at this point because we need to start moving on. And I appreciate your passion, and I appreciate the fact that you're frustrated. But I'm going to move forward with the meeting, and I'm going to move forward with this project. We're going to
Okay.
do the homework that we need to do.
Okay, but I
While he's
wanna
doing his
help.
tabletop engineering.
I
we're
wanna
also
help
gonna
with the
start to
project
look
that it's a
we're
health
also gonna start
priority.
to look into grant opportunities to help out with the cost. So we will be back in touch with you, and I will once a month give you a phone call and let you know where we are in that process. And we will get back in touch, and we will have a conversation and a hearing with the folks on that street and say, here's where we are. And if the majority want to move forward, then we will take it to the next step of getting the formal engineering done. We will move forward with trying to find grants available for it and to come up with a number so that we can speak intelligently about what the cost could potentially be. The numbers that you're quoting are from 2021 and are absolutely worthless at this point, in my opinion, because of inflation and the other rising in costs. So I am sorry that the aquifer has dried up, and I am sorry that you are frustrated, and I am sorry for all that you have to go through because of this lack of water. I now know about it, and I promise you that I'm going to do my best to keep you as informed as possible and to get the project up and running and moving forward. And the community and the residents on that street will have the exact information and won't have to estimate, and we will get to that point, and we will make a decision together. Okay?
Sure, because you paid for the west end of our street. You commissioners approved ARPA money, federal emergency money to bring that water to the west end of our street. Okay, so I don't know why you're acting like you don't know anything about it, or that the residents are now, it's a taxpayer issue we're gonna have to
I
deal with.
appreciate you coming in today.
It's a health priority, and I'm calling
appreciate it.
on the Department of Ohio Health to say that
Ma'am,
Lake County General Health
I
District
appreciate it,
and
and
Concord Township,
we're gonna
for
move
you
forward.
letting us truck in water and cross-contaminate and have disinfectant byproducts in our water systems is gross negligence, quite frankly, okay?
enough.
And it's capricious and whatever else, that you just choose to send water over there arbitrary as hell, that the west end is
Ma'am,
so worthy.
I need to move forward with our
Because
day.
our
I
houses are
appreciate
modest
your
and not
time.
$1 million homes on Zillow.
Ma'am? Okay.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
if I could just sum up where we're at.
I think we've summed it up. I appreciate your time, sir, but we're going to move forward if that's okay today, all right? I appreciate it, John. I'm sorry, but I want to move forward. Okay? Thank you. Are there any other members of the public that would speak about any other issues that haven't been covered so far? Seeing none. Kristen, would you please come and give the presentation that you've prepared for us today? By the way, I'm glad to see you're walking a little bit better than you were a week or two.
Thank you. I get to take this boot off next week, so
Good.
you won't have to watch me limping anymore. Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Aaliyah and I wanted to share some really great news, something that we've accomplished recently, thanks to a 3-year federal grant that we received from the AmeriCorps federal grant program. We were able to create a video that is enabling us to advance our recruiting of older adults to volunteer, and we need more older adults to volunteer to serve seniors directly, because Lake County, Ohio is one of the fastest growing aging counties, and we need more volunteers to help with direct service. So this grant actually supports volunteers doing direct service to other older adults. So the video is specifically, again, going to be on our website to help recruit more additional volunteers. So Summer is going to play our new video.
Thank you.
In every community across Lake County, there are people who want to help people. And in every community, there are people who need help. There are countless opportunities for people to make a difference by helping others in meaningful ways. Becoming a volunteer is a powerful way to give back to the community and make that difference. Volunteering doesn't just strengthen our community, it enriches people's lives by building connections, providing purpose, and a sense of belonging. Finding volunteer opportunities shouldn't feel confusing or overwhelming. It should feel personal, helpful, and most of all, human. It's a true connection with a purpose. That's why the Lake County Volunteer Network is here. The Lake County Volunteer Network makes volunteering simple, meaningful, and supported. We connect adults 55 and older with opportunities that match their time, talent, and interests. We go beyond saving time and energy by efficiently connecting volunteers to opportunities.
People want to help, but the process can be frustrating. We take the frustration out of finding a volunteer role so people could spend less time searching and more time doing the work that gives them purpose and meaning. Our volunteers focus on making a difference, not searching for one. Volunteers express interest through an online portal, and the Lake County Volunteer Network guides them every step of the way. Each volunteer participates in an in-person orientation where we get to know them personally and offer tailored volunteer recommendations. They don't leave with a list, they leave with real volunteer placements and connections.
The Lake County Volunteer Network is an amazing organization. They do all the legwork with the volunteers and connect them with our agencies, so it allows people to focus on putting their talents to good use.
I was a little nervous, but then I got very excited because I knew I could make a difference from the very beginning when I first walked into Lake County Volunteer Network.
Volunteering is more than giving your time. It's about finding purpose and knowing that what you do truly matters. It's about growth, friendship, and belonging. We make it easy to get involved with free transportation through Lake Tran Dial-A-Ride, so getting to and from your volunteer assignments is stress-free. You'll also have access to exclusive done-in-a-day volunteer opportunities, perfect for making an immediate impact. Each year, we celebrate those who make a difference at our annual volunteer recognition event. Along the way, you'll form real connections, new friendships built on shared experiences, and for added peace of mind, supplemental medical insurance is provided, so you can focus on what truly matters, making a difference. The Lake County Volunteer Network is partially funded by AmeriCorps Seniors RSVP program. RSVP is one of the largest volunteer efforts in the nation, connecting older adults and agencies to help people and communities thrive.
Lake County Volunteer Network engages older adults in community service so that everyone in the community benefits.
Volunteering doesn't just strengthen our community, it enriches people's lives.
One connection can make such a big difference in someone's life, and that someone could be you.
Make a difference in our community.
Make a difference in someone's life.
Volunteer with the Lake County Volunteer Network today.
If you're interested in volunteering with the Lake County Volunteer Network, please call 440-350-5360 or email lcvn@lakecountyohio.gov today.
So that is our new video.
And you said it's going to be on the website?
It will be on our website with a, right underneath it with a link to our portal that gives you an online interest that comes directly to me.
Do we, I knew we'd ask, I know we do the newsletter physically. Do we do a digital version of the newsletter, or it goes on that?
Well,
do we email that out at all, or do we have
thanks to this federal grant, we are able to get a constant contact newsletter that we will be doing for senior services specifically.
Okay, beautiful.
Yes, yes. And this grant is also enabling us to do educational videos. So we have 3 years of the grant. We'll be creating several educational videos, specifically volunteers who are providing the direct service. Our first one is on mental health in older adults.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll be partnering with our community agencies for that. So thank you again for letting us share today. And we'll be honoring at 2:30 with all the volunteers that were in the video. We'll have a little party for them today.
Okay. Gentlemen, anything for Kristen? Okay. Thank you. Anything else for our workshop session? Seeing none, we'll bring this to a close. Thank you.